Welcome to a very cheesy, yet also a very meaty episode of the Food and Loathing Podcast. I'm Al Mancini. Samantha Gemini Stevens and I are coming to you from the landmark P.O.P.S Philly Steaks on Decatur Boulevard and Alta Drive. This is an outdoor restaurant, so you're going to hear the outdoors, and it's a busy fucking intersection. We got motorcycles, got garbage, and trucks behind us, we got things rattling. It's crazy, and that's cool, man, because who wants to listen to us all in a quiet, sterile studio, man?
Yeah, I like the background noise.
This is Las Vegas. Rich is going to bitch and moan. Rich Johnson is actually...
Rich.
We love you, Rich. Rich is in Paris this week, where we hope he's eating something a bit more French than a cheesesteak. Maybe dining at one of the places Chef James Trees recommended for him. Probably eating a cheesesteak, I know, Rich. But he will still be carving out time to assemble this episode and make sure it sounds great. So if it does, thank him. I hope we make him hungry. I hope we make him hungry for something French, however.
That's right.
As I said, I'm Al Mancini. I've been writing and reporting on food in Las Vegas for over 20 years for just about anyone who will have me. Don't believe me? You can hear me this week on Christopher Kimball's Milk Street Radio podcast, hanging out with Mr. Kimball during his recent tour of Las Vegas. My co-host, as I mentioned, is Samantha Gemini Stevens. She's also a Las Vegas food writer. Hasn't been doing it quite as long as I have, but that's only because she's young and hip and I'm old and dying. Hello, my friend. How are you? Any stories out right now that I should be looking for by you?
By me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, there's some information up on Neon News about the upcoming Unstripped.
Okay.
So that's a good one. And we're going to be adding to that because more chefs were recently added to the list.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's at neonnews.vegas.
That's right.
So how you liking our atmosphere here?
I'm loving it. I love that the weather is nice. So you can sit outside. It's shady. You're not getting blasted with the sun because it is already getting pretty warm. I love seeing how many people are lined up to get their lunch. You know, everybody just seems so comfortable here. They're here. They know what's here. They know what they're getting. I love the mural.
We got a mural. Apparently, Ben Franklin was a big fan of cheesesteaks.
That's right.
He's got green peppers on his. I don't see, but I see he didn't do whiz. He's got slices of cheese there, which is honestly how I used to have them as a kid. It's got some onions on it. That's cool. They look like they need to be cooked a little more, those onions that Ben Franklin's having, but I'm sure the ones that they're going to cook for us are going to be perfect, spot on.
Maybe back then that was the size of the competition cheesecake. I keep saying that.
Back in Ben Franklin's day?
Yeah. I mean, it's as big as his head.
It is as big as his head. It's as big as the fucking Liberty Bell, really. I mean, I think he's going to maybe that's how they broke the Liberty Bell. Maybe they hit it with a fucking cheesesteak. Well, that's it. That is Schoolhouse Rock by Al Gemini. Don't let your kids listen to this before their history test. We do, however, have a great show lined up for you today. We are at P.O.P.S Philly Steak. That's P.O.P.S Philly Steak, which stands for, I just learned today, Pride of Philly Steaks.
That's right.
P.O.P.S. So that's where we're hanging out. We're going to be talking to the owner shortly. I grew up in South Jersey, just outside of Philly. I am very excited to be getting
Tell me about some of your expectations, because I'm from San Francisco. I didn't have cheesesteaks like that.
I mean, yeah, a cheesesteak in Philly, I like it to be chopped. I like when they take the beef and they almost freeze it and slice it really, really thin, right?
Okay.
So by the time it gets to the guy who's making it on the grill or the woman who's making it on the grill, it's these paper thin almost slices, not paper, but thin for steak slices that were sliced off of the ribeye usually. I think places that I go, and then you throw that on the grill, and you take that metal spatula, and you just I can't do the sound, right? But you know the sound of smacking a griddle with the metal spatula, and you just chop the fuck out of it. You throw the onions in there, you saute the shit out of those onions, then you decide on which kind of cheese that you want, of course.
Right.
I'm usually just a fried onions, just a cheese guy. I think I grew up eating American cheese. If you go to Philly, people who have only been to Philly once or twice will always tell you have to have whiz, you have to have cheese whiz. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, a lot of people do eat it with whiz, but it's really not. Like, eating it without whiz, eating it with a slice of cheese. So what do we got going on, man? I hope it's a good delivery. I don't even want to know what's going on in that truck, actually. Yeah, eating it with whiz or eating it with, say, sliced American or sliced provolone, it's not like if you order a hot dog in Chicago with ketchup, right? It's not like one of those fucking deals. We give Philadelphia, it's a city of freedom, man. You have a lot more freedom there to do whatever you want. So I love it. We're going to be joined shortly by Christina Walton, who represents the second generation of ownership here at P.O.P.S. She's going to bring us out a bunch of fucking food, so I cannot wait. We're going to learn about the cheesesteak eating competition they had here yesterday, as well as her plans for taking P.O.P.S. into the future.
Oh my God, how exciting.
We also have a short interview with Chef Justin Ford, recorded at the grand opening party for Stubborn Seed in Resorts World, as well as a representative of Clark County telling us about everything that's happening with the Tacos and Tamales Festival this weekend at Desert Breeze Park. And what else do we have? Oh, we're going to preview an upcoming interview that I have with Chef Sean Griffin of PrimeSteak in Bellagio.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Because they just renovated that place. I went in. So I'll give you a little taste of that today. Probably next week or the week after we'll do that full interview.
Absolutely.
And then also I went to, right now as we record this, the International Pizza Expo is going on here in Las Vegas. I doubt we're going to take a deep dive into it with you guys, but I did go to sort of pre-kickoff party for Slice Out Hunger that happened yesterday in my time. And I'm going to take you there. We'll talk to Tony Gemignani. We'll talk to Scott Wiener from Slice Out Hunger. We'll talk to Sam from Metro. So we've got a lot of interesting shit coming on. We should probably rush through this. But Gemini, it's been a while since you've told us about great places you've been eating. I don't have a lot. I got a lot more takeout this week and just places that I visited but didn't dine. But what about, they're taking that scary, they're now taking away the scary.
Right. The truck is leaving.
I don't know what that is. Is that like a waste container on top? I do not know. But anyway, to getting the truck out of here. Gemini, we like to get people hungry. We like to make them want to eat. Before we start eating cheesesteaks, what the fuck have you been eating?
I have got a huge list over the past little bit, so I'm going to break it up into stuff because otherwise it's a whole show on its own.
Okay.
But I do want to share, my brother was in town recently. I think I've mentioned that before. We went on one night. We went to both Casa Playa and Delilah.
Oh,
and
man.
We had an amazing evening.
You were just fancy. You ain't fancy like date night at the Applebee's. You were fancy you're fancy like crushing it at Wynn Las Vegas fancy.
Oh my God, we had such a good time. Casa Playa, it's connected to the beach club. I love the vibe. Even at night, it's very sort of chill and relaxed. I love the artwork and some of the sculpture and things that are in there. They've got some great custom cocktails. Standouts for me as far as dishes, there was a scallop dish that was beyond. It was sliced super thin. The scallops were super sweet and tender. It had this great green, almost like a salsa verde, but not as punchy. And the grilled octopus. If you get nothing else there, get a great deep cocktail and get that octopus because the char on it is amazing. The salsas that come with it are fantastic. They really put a lot of attention into those dishes.
What if we just witness an accident here, man?
God.
We'll have it all on tape.
That's
the cops are going to come. Casa Playa is a great restaurant in Wynn Las Vegas. Definitely the most bougie, upscale Mexican restaurant that we have. But of course,
I think so, yeah.
The chef over there, she is trained with Enrique Oliveri, and so she knows how to do. It's Sarah, by the way, Chef Sarah Thompson, whom we love. She knows how to do bougie Mexican and still make it authentic, still make it good,
still really approachable.
And then they also capture that fun party vibe that goes over into the Wynn Beach Club, which is right outside their window as well.
Yeah, so I really liked that. That was a lot of fun. I don't know when the last time I was in there. But yeah, we just sat there. We tried a few things. We knew we were going to be kind of bouncing around that night. So when we went over to Delilah, we weren't planning on eating that much because we had, the scallops and the octopus, and then I think we had one more dish at Casa Playa. But then we knew we were going to go over to Delilah. I really just wanted to go check it out. It had been 3 or 4 years since pretty much since they opened, since I'd been there, maybe a little bit longer. So we sat down. We had a fantastic view of the stage. We were not right in that front area, but just in those second booths behind it.
And if you haven't been to Delilah, and they have a pretty strict no photos policy in there. Now I'm sure your favorite content creator has broken that rule somewhere or another. But you really you need to go in there. I would say it's one of the best Art Deco style rooms I think Las Vegas has.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing it even to the Smith Center,
Absolutely.
right? Reynolds Hall, which is a great Art Deco room. I just think it's just the lap of luxury. It's beautiful to be in there. Plus they have cool bands playing up on that stage.
Right, and the difference between the two, because those are very good examples of that style, is that, Smith Center is meant to be an auditorium space. And even the cabaret and things like that it doesn't match the welcoming, plush, luxury is a really good word, that vibe that you get just walking down those steps into that area where the seating is like, oh my God.
And both places, of course, have drinks by Marina Mercer-Borini, who is brilliant mixologist.
Oh my God, we had some really fun ones. They did let me take a few photos in Delilah, but it was because I specifically wanted to record the wines that we were tasting with different bites.
Because you were Gemini Stevens.
Well, they probably, turned an eye on a few
She's got juice.
things.
Don't let her lie to you. She's got a lot of juice in this town. I used to have juice. Gemini's got juice now.
Good conversations with the GM, with their wine specialist, Christy Norman. So yeah, it was really a good time. The biggest thing on that one that I loved was I think we tried all of the desserts, which I'm not usually a dessert person, but
Baked
these
Alaska?
were phenomenal. I don't think we had a Baked Alaska.
That's the only one I know there is the Baked Alaska.
We had like a tiramisu style, and we had like a cake, and we had, oh my gosh, this like beautiful custard, almost like a lemon balm sort of thing, like almost looks like a candy truffle.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God. But yeah, the wines were amazing. So did that. And then with that same group that my brother came in, and they're the Mudslide Boys. They're a bunch of gambling degenerates.
Okay. Yay, degenerates. Yeah, the city was built on you.
Half of them are retired. The other half are retiring soon. And they come to Vegas like 5 or 6 times a year. And they just play so much that they get their vacations for free. So why not? So
it's a bargain. They gamble so much, they get a bargain out of it.
So we went to Andiamo one night. Hadn't been there in a while. It's consistent. Their eggplant caponata is still one of my favorites.
Talking about Andiamo downtown.
At the D. Yep,
at the D. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me clarify. I had lobster bisque, which is classic for me there. It's a really good one. It's got good chunks of lobster in it. It's not overly thick, but it does have good texture. I do miss when you ask for a Caesar that they don't do it tableside anymore.
Aww.
And when they bring you a single dish, it's actually good like for 4 people. And so 2 of us ordered Caesars thinking we would have shared one otherwise.
Right.
And it came on this massive dish. So the servings are still huge.
Right.
I just missed that tableside aspect. There was something really kind of classy and that white tablecloth dining experience.
Who still does a tableside Caesar these days?
Golden Steer.
Okay.
Still has one. I was there not that long ago.
Hugo's Cellar?
I believe, Hugo's has the salad cart that comes around, and you can pick and choose what you want in your salads.
Does Cialvino do one?
Not
No?
tableside that I'm aware of, but I've been popping in there more, so I'll find out.
Maybe not. Okay, but if you know a good tableside Caesars, let us know, because people love that.
Yeah, but because the portions are so large, my dinner was actually an appetizer. I got the baked clams, and they were these huge clams, like almost as big as my hand, with all the stuff in them, baked really well, super tender inside. So, yeah, I hadn't been there in years, and it was actually a pretty good experience.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think I'm going to save some stuff. Oh, you know what? I'm going to throw one more out there.
Okay.
I went to Featherblade, and I bought some rabbits, and I made a North African, Moroccan inspired lentil and chickpea stew with like harissa and ras hanout and cumin and Aleppo pepper and paprika. That rabbit was so good.
Really?
Oh my God. And it came with all the offal, so if you're somebody who eats that kind of stuff, I put it in the very base when I was doing my veg.
And by that she means the guts, if you're not a chef.
Give me the organ meats, baby. So yeah, really, really, loved it. I hadn't been shopping there for a while, so I was really glad I went over there, got some good game, had a fantastic meal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Anything else you want to hit on this week?
You know what? I'll do one more.
One more.
We went on Sunday. I met with a bunch of friends, including our friends John and Leanne.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Carmelitas.
Yes,
Mar y Tierra.
Mar y
Tierra. And I'm probably pronouncing it right, and I'm sorry. It was actually
And this, by the way, this is Chef Letitia Mitchell's place on Charleston.
Yeah, it's also listed as a nightclub. So when you walk in, it's got that really open sort of vibe.
Yeah, looks like they could make it a dance floor if they wanted to.
You absolutely could, yeah. Sir, I will say this, and I'm just being honest.
Be honest, baby.
The service was slow. Some of the dishes that were served were wrong. They were close, like maybe somebody wanted birria versus shrimp or something like that. But even calling ahead, they still only had one server and not a very packed kitchen. Like I maybe saw 1 or 2 people back there.
Okay.
So there was a group of 10 of us. We were supposed to be 16. Things happened. But so that left everything was like just a little bit slow.
Yeah, when service is a little off, it can be a bummer. I love that restaurant, but
I do, and I want to say the flavors were amazing. I personally chose a chile relleno. You have the choice of ranchera or verde sauce. I actually asked for mole, and I got it. Their mole is fantastic, and I couldn't eat the whole thing. It was a big pepper filled with shrimp and onions and all the things. So I took it home. It was great reheated, slowly in the oven. And so, yeah, I did enjoy it. I just want a little bit more on the surface.
Right. Yeah, and this is, I would say, if you know Letitia Mitchell's other restaurants, if you know Letitia's, or even if you know Letty's in the Arts District, of course, Letty's is very, very tiny, so it's a different setup. I don't know. To me, this feels more neighborhood than most of the Letitia's have been, right?
Yes.
Like, and just more like, I mean, reflective actually of the neighborhood it's in, which is an up-and-coming neighborhood.
Absolutely.
I love the Hunt Ridge area.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's a little grittier. It's a little more down and dirty than up in the
so
Northwest where she has her other restaurants,
exactly.
So,
yeah, for those who don't know, it's a little bit more east of the Hunt Ridge. It's closer to Eastern and Charleston, but it is on Charleston.
And it's seafood specific.
Seafood specific, but they have birria on the menu. They've got pork on the menu. We had a guacamole with pork belly chicharrones that came all around the big molcajete with a huge piece of queso fresco that they had made on top. Like, it's really good.
If you're an Instagrammer, you want to get the molcajete with the octopus hanging out of it, man. It's fucking beautiful dish.
I looked at it, but I realized it was like $40 and it's meant to feed 2 or 3 people. I was like, I can't do that for myself.
Cool. Well, hey, Letitia.
Yeah.
Send a shout out.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. We're going to have to wait a week or so to learn where Rich has been dining in Paris. Hopefully he will not embarrass us. Yeah, I got my fingers crossed.
I've been watching his social media. I think we're in for some good surprises.
Yeah, okay, I hope so. So my turn. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a very low-key week when it came to restaurant dining. I looked at my calendar and I was like, how do I not have any dinners on my calendar this week? No media dinners. If you're a publicist and I missed something you did last week, sorry. I don't know what happened. So I didn't do a lot. And we had 2 VGK games over the weekends. I didn't have tickets to either, but so we stayed in and watched them on TV, right? With takeouts from Stefano's Greek one night. I guess I'll start there, actually.
Yeah.
Basically, I believe Stefano's Greek was recommended to Sue by our friend Rob Cashel-Reese at Vegas City Cast.
Oh, yeah.
We trust his opinions pretty implicitly. The guy's been writing about food in Las Vegas for a long, long time.
Yep.
So we decided to give it a try. My short review was that I was impressed with the food and unimpressed with the menu.
Okay.
At least with the menu that I was able to find online for ordering and delivering, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times those aren't the exact same menus, right? So I'm not really sure. But it was pretty basic, but without all the basics that I may have wanted, right? So nothing super crazy, but then not all the basics.
So what do you look for in a basic at a Greek restaurant?
I'd like to see more lamb dishes in this place.
Okay.
I think the only lamb they had was maybe in a hero or maybe a souvlaki or something like that. I would like to lamb skewers in addition to the chicken skewers would have been nice. Just a few little things like that. Stuff some sides that I would normally order that just weren't on the menu. Not a big deal, but but the food was good. We did some chicken skewers. We did a falafel pita. I liked all of it quite a bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We had a good meal. VGK won, so
baby.
They're lucky. That's the lucky place. I also dropped by PrimeSteak in Bellagio this week. I did not dine there. This is always funny, right? Let's get in the inside baseball.
Yeah, let's do it.
So God knows what publicists are listening to me. It's always funny when you go into a really, really fancy restaurant and the chef asks you when's the last time you were in here? And you feel horrible,
Always.
right? And you're like, I haven't been in here in 10 years. Why aren't we getting you in? You're looking at the publicist like, hey man, I'm not inviting myself. I'm not trying to invite myself into this fucking place. But it happens all the time. I mean, it happened to me with Jose Andres asking me when I was last into E, right?
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, Jose, I can't afford that shit, right? So anyway, Sean's like, hey, when have you been in here? And I'm like, it's been a while. So I think I may have gotten a guilt invitation. So I think I may be going back to dine at Prime Steakhouse. We'll see. We'll see how seriously Ashley took Sean's hint. I'm fine if I don't. I have eaten there several times. Anyway, I'm going to have that full Sean Griffin interview next week because they basically renovated the entire space. You may remember they closed down the Prime within Prime, and then they moved it over to the old Picasso space for a little while.
Yes.
While they renovated Prime. So now they're back in the Prime Steakhouse space. They have been for a little while right now. And I went in to talk to Sean about it, about how they've changed the menu, about how they've changed the space. We're going to do that within the next couple of weeks, but here's a little preview. Chef Sean telling me a bit about the new look.
When you walk in, it's very familiar, but it's at the same time different. You know, you're looking at the colors are very similar to what they used to be, but it's almost like it's gotten a shot in the arm, and it's like new and revitalized. Chandeliers, I think we went from 2 or 3 chandeliers to like 12 now.
You can never have too many chandeliers.
And from walking through the door, you've got this great Saint Laurent marble door frame that is stunning. And then just I look straight back to the room, and we used to have this this table 90, we call it, which is like a semi-private room. Now we've got an enclosed door on it that's floor to ceiling, just amazing looking. And outside of that, brand new china. Everything top to bottom is brand new.
And Resorts World threw a grand opening celebration for Stubborn Seed over the weekend. I was very happy to get an invitation to that, even more when I saw the packed house. This was not really just a media event. You know how we go to a lot of these events and it's our same 18 friends from the media, and then like, you know, the people who are a couple levels above us on the media list and people who might be a couple levels below us. This was a lot of serious, like, food people, right? Like casino executives. Chef Brian Howard was there with his wife. Chef James Trees was there hanging out talking to Jeremy Ford. You know, so I was really flattered that I got on the guest list for this. When I got there, like I said, Chef Jeremy Ford was talking to James Trees. Actually, you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the food before we talk about the chef. Nobody really knows what to make of Stubborn Seed, right? Maybe you've seen him on TV, maybe you've read about his restaurants, but you know, it's a weird kind of restaurant in that they do very, very creative dishes, but you know, not everything. There's things that'll look familiar to you. So you got to wonder what they're going to put out at a party like this, right? So we had oysters, which were served with a green apple mignonette citrus foam and orange habanero hot sauce.
Okay.
We had Kaluva caviar macarons, which was with champagne, citrus crema, and dill. But yeah, the candy, a macaron candy with caviar just scooped up on top.
Okay.
Had a foie gras and truffle tart with Fuji apple gelée, pine nuts, and I don't even know what that other word is, and I don't know. Had some charcuterie and cheese that was great. The guy who was slicing the ham to put it on these little crackers with the cheese and with the honey, he told me that he listened to our podcast, so that made me super happy. So thank you. That food was really, really good. So it's weird food, and I can't wait to get in there and actually have a meal. But I did grab Jeremy for a quick moment, thanks to my friend Bart for getting me some time with him. And I asked him what people should expect from Stubborn Seed.
It's kind of a dream come true, you know. I was telling a story. My mother took me when I was 15 years old to have foie gras for the first time. I believe it was at Bellagio or something. And this was like, I remember walking through all the buildings and dreaming like one day of hoping to have a restaurant here. And then my father came and saw my name on the outside of this restaurant. So it's pretty surreal, to be honest, to be, you know, 15, 20 years later back. So
that is awesome. Congratulations on that. Look, I think a lot of people that found out Stubborn Seed was the hot restaurant that was coming to Vegas went out, tried to Google you, tried to figure out what your food is. I don't know if that's a good way to know what your food is. How would you describe what this restaurant is?
I mean, it's you know, I always recommend doing the tasting menu when you're here, just because it's such a fun little journey through, you know, flavors from India, flavors from Asia. We really don't have a defined style. We just kind of use flavors that are interesting and fresh and vibrant, you know?
Well, what's the one dish people should try?
The barramundi with galangal curry.
On the way out, by the way, of Stubborn Seed, we dropped by 8 Cigar Lounge, which I really am starting to love that place. They do have food by Chef Nicole Brisson of Brezza. We didn't dine in there this time.
Yeah.
But I like going in there. Sue and I go in there. We get a mild cigar each. She orders a cocktail or a whiskey. And we sit there and we sip and we pretend, you know, we're rich people. It's like you sink into those plush leather chairs and booths, and it's so much fun. If you haven't been to 8 Cigar Bar, I would definitely recommend getting over there.
Okay.
On Saturday, we were invited to a media tasting for the new party brunch at Botilia.
Okay.
Did some cinnamon rolls, some avocado and tomato toast, a fruit plate, espresso martini tree, fucking like a dozen espresso martinis on a tree
my
that
God.
they put down. And they say they're little, but you don't drink a dozen of them. We had some chicken and waffles. We had some French toast with berries. A weird egg Benedict, I guess maybe California style, where they, instead of the bread, they put a tomato slice down there.
See, I don't find that weird because I do that all the time.
Yeah, I want carbs, man. Carb me up, baby, okay? But other people liked it. Guy with a guitar walking around table to table,
Cool.
serenading people. Stuff for sale, very female-focused. Women-focused trucker hats that said, girl power and things like that. They do them up custom for you. By the way, girl power, I always try not to say that because I feel like it seems demeaning. In my day, we would say riot girl. But I just saw somebody, with the women in hospitality, I saw them advertising girl power. So I guess it's okay for women to say it. But they were saying it. I'm not going to say it. I'll call you whatever you want to be called. I'm not even going to go any further. I am hoping to get over there. Probably by the time you heard this, I'll have probably done another interview, but we'll save that for a week or two. If I do get it now, Rich will drop it in, but most likely you'll hear it next week. And then, of course, the International Pizza Expo and the Bar and Restaurant Expo are both in town this week. I'm going to be going tomorrow to check them out, so I'm probably not going to tell you guys that much about them. I went to the pre-party. They're always fun events. They're always super cool events. I'll let some of these guys talk about it. I went to the pre-party. In the old days, 5 years ago, I don't know, whatever, Tony Gemignani would always throw a pre-party at Pizza Rock in downtown Las Vegas.
Yep.
The greatest pizza makers from around the world who were in town for the expo would all just hang out and get drunk and meet friends, reminisce, talk to people they haven't seen in a while. It's always a great party. I've had the chance. We actually recorded a podcast there one year. We had a great time. Always fun. But the last couple of years before that party, because that's private, VIP, they do a pizza tasting or a pizza tailgate right out in front. And that is done to raise money for Slice Out Hunger. So I went over there. I think there were 16 pizza makers in the first session, another 16 in the second. I don't know, something crazy like that. People lined up. Everybody got all the food that they wanted. I had a lot of fun over there. Let's see. Who did I talk to when I was over? You know what? We're going to get to that in the news. We'll talk about that in the news.
Okay.
We'll throw Pizza Expo in the news. And I think that's about it for this week. So coming up in the news, you're going to have those conversations with our friends at Pizza Expo.
Yep.
We'll have a few more things there. But first, I'm looking around, making sure, the food's going to be coming. The food's on its way, baby. First,
and it smells so good because we're sitting out here watching everybody else eat.
Yeah. So we're going to be joined by our hostess, Christina Walton, in just a minute. This is Food and Loathing. Okay, and joining us for this section, we have, as promised, Christina Walton. She recently kind of took over the day-to-day operations here at P.O.P.S. So welcome, Christina. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I think you're sending some steaks out shortly, too, right? So we're finally going to get to dig into this stuff.
I'm excited.
My stomach, man, my stomach. So let's talk about yesterday before we get into anything, because yesterday, as we record this, was National Cheesesteak Day.
Yes.
I was going to come down and check out your cheesesteak eating competition, but I got to tell you, Gemini and I have seen too many food eating competitions in our lives. I didn't know if I could handle people shoving. Did they have to do it with whiz? What was the cheese on it?
So they had their option of Provolone American Swiss or Cheese Whiz, and y'all, they demolished them. There was one guy that was just going through the cheesesteak as fast as he could. Halfway through, he definitely slowed down. He was not our winner, but these guys were crushing it.
So was it a regular size standard cheesesteak that you would get? Oh.
2 foot.
What?
2 feet long. Yes. So
what was the competition? Because it wasn't a standard one where you give somebody, say, 8 minutes and see how many cheesesteaks they can eat, right? This was more of a race to finish one?
That's right.
Okay.
Wow. So we give them 10 minutes to finish a 2-foot cheesesteak for a chance to win a year's worth of free cheesesteak.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they could just set up shop here, man, because this is like a little campground you've got here, the hangout here.
So we did like a little patio takeover. We pulled out some tables. We set up under the Benjamin Franklin mural here. So we had like 6 or 8 contestants here. And then we just activated this patio space. We had about 15 people in the competition and only one winner.
That's amazing. So how fast did they do it?
In 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, in 10 minutes. And it was actually the same exact, it wasn't the same winner as the previous year, but it was our second annual cheesesteak eating competition. But the winner last year finished in 10 minutes on the dot.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. I'm not going to eat that fast.
No.
I'm warning everybody,
no, and
man.
honestly,
I'm going to pay.
Please don't. Like, just enjoy it.
I know. Were they dipping it in anything? Like when they go
water.
To
Like
all the messy stuff.
Yeah, it's like they had been practicing and watching how like the hot dog eating contest goes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have covered too many of these this year, and I mean, they just get messier and messier. And you ask these guys how they prep, and that's exactly it. They just sit at home, make the mess, and just
dig in.
Yeah.
But I can't believe how many people that we had that were in the competition from the previous year. So it was funny because I was joking with some of them, that they came back to win, and take home the grand prize. So yeah,
amazing.
And one of the winner did. He was here last year as well.
Well, congratulations. Do we know the name of the winner? Do you have
His name is Daniel Escobar.
Okay, well,
Congrats,
congratulations,
Daniel.
man. Enjoy your cheesesteaks. So, since we have you here, P.O.P.S is such a Vegas institution, right? And it's here on this weird corner, right, of like Decatur and Alta. Is that where we are? Yes. So, which I always hear in a car commercial, right, on the big corner of Decatur and Alta. But so it's in a strange little section of town. It's right there, right out on this busy intersection.
Yeah.
And as you drive up, what you'll see is the patio. There's patios on both sides, patios in the front. So it's surrounded on really 3 sides by patio. The patio is the entire restaurant, correct? I mean, you cook indoors, but there's no indoor seating, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. How long have you guys been here?
We've been here since 2002.
2002. Okay,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah.
So you came out here around the same time I came out here.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you got here, first of all, how old? I'm not going to ask how old you are. Okay, but your family founded this.
Second generation owner.
Second generation
I'm
owner.
also
There you go.
happy to say how old I am.
Were you old
I'm
enough
40.
to work here when they opened in 2002? That's what I'm wondering.
I was in high school.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So when you got here, did everybody know? Because I came here in 2001, and I honestly thought that the Philly cheesesteaks that you got in a tavern in Las Vegas were a step above what you got in most cities that aren't Philadelphia.
Okay.
But they were nowhere close to what you get in Philadelphia, right? But they were better. I mean, I've had cheesesteaks even in like New York State and shit where it's like roast beef and you're like, this isn't even a cheesesteak, right? So Vegas does them okay, but clearly your parents looked around and said that nobody's doing this right, I guess, right?
Right. Well, and that really came from the vision from my father. So my dad grew up going to Philadelphia, the Jersey Shore, like South Philly, during the summers. Yeah, and he actually fell in love with like the Italian sausage at the state fair, with the grilled peppers. And then he kind of grew into his love for cheesesteaks as he grew up. And so when my parents moved here in the 90s, my dad instantly saw an opportunity for a cheesesteak restaurant. And so in 2002, the opportunity presented itself, and here we are. And
wow,
it was a cheesesteak restaurant prior to, and then my parents rebranded it to what it is now, which is Pride of Philly Steaks.
Yep.
So this was a cheesesteak restaurant prior to that. When did that one open? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
You know what? I think that was sometime in the 90s, and then prior to that, it was a Wiener Schnitzel. So
I was going to say, it has that shape.
Yes. So one of the things I think that really sets us apart too is the A-frame building, and it's funny because when somebody doesn't know the structure or the building or is trying to get clarification on it, they go like this to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and she's giving you the little A-frame sign with her hands here. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you said your father got into it later, but was he raised in Philadelphia?
No, my parents are actually from the South. They're from North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no real Philadelphia roots other than the fact that my grandparents were taking my dad up to that part of the country.
Oh, sounds like a lot.
Yeah, during the summer.
Yeah.
summer vacations and such.
Yeah, look at that. My phone's ringing. That ain't right. Stop that. I apologize.
You are popular.
Okay, let's turn that damn thing off. It's ringing in my ears, too. So you were not from Philly. Does your dad have a favorite Philly cheesesteak? Because, of course, everybody talks about, it's Pat's or Gino's. I tend to figure that any place in Philly has a great cheesesteak. I don't have a preference between Pat's and Gino's. I like to go to John's Roast Pork over in South Philly and get roast pork and a cheesesteak. That's me when I'm down there. But does your family have a favorite in Philadelphia?
Well, if we are deciding between the two staples, I would say that our restaurant probably mimics Pat's a little bit more, just in terms of the way that we craft the cheesesteak. So here at P.O.P.S, it's finely chopped steak. And when you go to Gino's, they throw the slab of meat, and there's no chopping that they do. They let it sizzle, and they're, kind of turning the steak over from time to time. We like it really fine here at P.O.P.S, and so I think that that's kind of,
That's where your pedigree lies.
That's right.
Cool. So you've been here for over 20 years. You must have regular customers.
We have a huge loyal following.
That's amazing.
I know, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of them. Yeah.
You know of like one or two in particular that have been coming here like since the beginning?
Yes. And I actually met one a couple of weeks ago. He comes 2 to 3 times a week. I was actually hosting our monthly management meeting, and he walked by, and Adriana said, "Oh, that's Matt. He's here 2 to 3 times a week." He gets the same thing every single week. He gets a number 6, which is a mushroom cheesesteak with a side of fried mushrooms. And I said, "Oh my gosh!" And so he came over. I met him, and of course, took care of his meal. And I said, "Thank you so much for coming to see us for
shout out to Matt
so long." And then shortly after, there was a couple so darling that walked in, and they said, "Are you the owner?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I have been coming here for all of these years, and I'm celebrating my 5-month anniversary today." They were in their 70s. I couldn't believe it. I have a picture of them. If you guys want to see. It was
so
the cutest
cool.
thing. I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so sweet that you're celebrating at P.O.P.S.
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me go get you some tasty cakes. Let's do a little celebration."
Tasty cakes. Oh, now you've got my attention. Yeah, because you guys
You really perked up.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, bounced right up in my chair there, because I can't find tasty Philadelphia classic, really.
Yeah.
Tasty cakes. Everybody likes the butterscotch crimpets. I kind of like the ones with the peanut butter inside. What kind do you serve here?
Those are my favorite. I love the peanut butter ones, but we also do have the butterscotch ones. We have a coffee cake, and then we have I think it's the chocolate junior, but there's 4 different flavors that we have right now.
Well,
but sometimes it's dependent on what we can actually get, because there's only one distributor that we can get them from right now. They're pretty hard to come across. And there was a period of time when we weren't able to carry them at all, like during the pandemic and such.
Cool.
But we just started carrying them again in December-ish. So.
Cool. Is that our food arriving over there? Or is that somebody else's
Oh,
food?
wow.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, but I got to get digging into this.
Yeah.
As I get ready to ask you, we're about to see some of this stuff. My question, of course, is what kind of cheeses do you offer on your cheesesteak?
Okay, so our number 2 is our Cheese Whiz. Our number 3 is our American. Our number 4 is our provolone. And then we have a bacon and Swiss cheesesteak as well. So we can make a cheesesteak with Swiss cheese if you would like, but we don't offer steak and Swiss as one of our numbered options on the menu. So
Okay.
I always really kind of say that it's a number 2, 3, or 4. So you've got Cheese Whiz, American, or provolone.
Okay, so the one we have here is Whiz. Honestly, I probably grew up eating more American cheese, but Whiz is the classic, right? Whiz is what, when you talk to somebody from Philadelphia, and they want to brag about it, about being legit. They brag about eating the Whiz.
I hear that a lot, yeah.
You can have, all of them are popular in Philadelphia. And, it's all good. I'm sorry, we're in the parking lot here, so I love this gnat sound. I'm just going to pick this up. It didn't get cut yet, so I'm just going to take a big sloppy mess. This is not 2 feet tall, 2 feet long. It is not a competition one, but it's still pretty fucking big.
And imagine eating more than 2 of those in 10 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, yes.
You need a napkin.
I don't need a napkin. I got Whiz on my face. Words you don't usually want to say. But I'm okay with the Whiz on my face.
That's amazing.
And this is the actual authentic Cheese Whiz that we use here. Nice. So it's not, you know when you go to maybe like a stadium, there's like the
they have that
nacho cheese.
Yeah,
yeah.
That stuff that's like one molecule away from plastic.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is really good. Now, we got it. I know you said peppers with mushrooms are one of your favorites or one of your best sellers.
Mm-hmm. That was
so
just going to go into that.
Talk
about some more of the flavors. Like, what are some of the best combos that you think are...
So I think that our customers tell us what the best best combinations are. And so here is the peppers, mushrooms, and onions. This you can also get in chicken or steak.
Okay.
Our chicken cheesesteak is actually fabulous as well. But in Philadelphia, you know this, Al, it's with or without onions. And so we serve any of our cheesesteaks with or without.
I mean, fried onions to me, like they're a necessity, and you guys do them beautifully here.
Thank you. Thank you. Also,
the other thing you say about it, that I say about a really good cheesesteak, there we go. We're taking out the garbage. I love it. The thing that I say about a really good cheesesteak that a lot of chefs may not like you saying about their food, but in cheesesteak, you taste the grease.
Yeah.
There's like that. Yeah. It's beautiful. You can taste the griddle. You can taste like the history of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great hangover food.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I mean, we are 24/7, you know, and I think that that's one of the things, too, that really sets us apart. Even though this is a 24/7 town, you can obviously go to the casinos and get anything in the casinos 24/7. But here, that's something that makes us special, you know, and so you can come get that cheesesteak in the middle of the night, whether you are leaving the strip or you're leaving work and you need something that's good and sustainable, like you can come to P.O.P.S.
So what are your most popular hours here? Are they in the wee hours, or are they like people that come by for lunch?
Actually, no. Yeah, I would say 12 p.m. and then also 6 p.m. So it's your lunch crew and then it's your dinner crew.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because you do have Arizona Charlie's is right there, so you've got hotel guests, you've got more hotels and apartments and things around here. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you've got what looks to be not just the locals, but a solid space to be for visitors to come and hang out.
Yes. Yeah. And so, you know, I love reading our reviews. Sometimes I actually personally read and respond to all of our reviews online. And the reviews that say, oh, P.O.P.S. is the first place that we go when we touch down in Vegas.
Yeah.
Or we always make a point to come to Pride of Philly Steaks. Like, that is so touching and heartwarming. And I just, I almost tear up when I read things like that, because it's like, who knew that this restaurant could mean that much to people, And a lot of the times it's nostalgia for people. I have girlfriends whose kids go to Our Lady who went to Bishop Gorman back in the day, and they have great stories of when they would come to the, P.O.P.S. in year 2000 and 2002, and I just...
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's
a little bit of history.
Exactly.
Okay, so what was the decision for your parents to kind of let you take control here? And do you have any big plans to take it in a new direction? And then I'm going to dig into that hoagie, and we're going to talk hoagies after that.
Yeah, definitely. So really the decision came too fast, to be honest with you. I lost my dad during the pandemic, but it wasn't... I immediately wanted to step into, the role. So that's how I grew into it. It's just like naturally. Right. I always knew that I would be involved in the restaurant. And it would be mine one day, but it came sooner than I expected.
Right.
So that's kind of that. And then plans for the future. I look at this community, and I want P.O.P.S. to be a brand that everybody recognizes and feels connected to in the community. And so in terms of expansion, I would love to look for some partnerships and growth opportunities in that regard. Something that feels meaningful and impactful. And then in terms of another restaurant, we'll see what the future holds.
See what's happening. Okay, cool. So you brought us three things. You brought us the cheesesteak, which of course we had to have. You brought us your spin on a hoagie, which is the Philadelphia cold sandwich, right? And it is a hoagie, by the way, people. It's not a sub. It's not a grinder.
It's a hoagie.
And you make it with Italian meats, and you make it with all kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yours is even a little over the top. I'm using my glasses to take some pictures here. Yours is even a little over the top compared to ones that I remember. I don't remember seeing pickles on ones at home, but maybe I just we went to different places. So this is definitely
wow, look at that cross
Look at this. Holy shit, man. I pulled this thing open.
Yeah,
I don't know
we're going to
how
get a
my
cross
mouth.
cut.
You can't.
I can't get my mouth around it. It's
Wow.
huge. It is just
It's
fucking huge. And
That is gorgeous.
Gemini's taking pictures. I'm going to take a big bite.
Hal can barely get to.
I only got
sandwich
the
in his
meat,
mouth.
right? But,
He's holding on to it.
oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really good.
Thank you. I think that this is our prettiest sandwich. I always say that this is like from a presentation standpoint. I love how this sandwich looks.
Yeah, that's your Instagram sandwich.
yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's our
The
Instagrammable.
cheesesteak's awesome, but if you're an Instagrammer, a
Yeah.
content creator, you have a kid who is, you got to get the hoagie, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What'd you think?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's kind of funny because the standard for me anymore for a good hoagie is really, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but it's a Wawa hoagie, which
Okay.
is a chain, it's a
Yeah.
chain of convenience stores, but they've really come in. This is a little different. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot more overflowing with stuff. But it has all those great flavors. And I'm going to hit you on a couple things. You put oregano on this,
Yes.
right? I can see it sprinkled right on the top. That's
Yep.
key. Do you dress the rolls with oil and vinegar?
Yeah, we just the top of the sandwich.
Just the top of the sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like it kind of soaked into the bread, but that's okay. Cool. But you're hitting on all the right things. And then the Italian meat's inside. What do you put inside that hoagie?
So it's ham, salami, and capicola. And then we do lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, red onions. And these are hot peppers, just like they do the Italian subs or hoagies in Philadelphia.
Cool.
And then it's topped with salt, pepper, and oregano.
Awesome. I'm trying to make Gemini take a bite of this. I
Oh my
haven't seen her
God.
shove any of this stuff into her.
I've been eating this.
Well, you've been eating it. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the cheesesteak, Gemini?
I love it. My
Yeah.
first bite, it was decadent. It was full of flavor. I was listening to you say you can taste the grill, you can taste the char on this, you can. Oh my God! Like perfect description.
Yeah,
And I don't know the last time I've had a cheesesteak, to be quite honest. And I love the onions and the mushrooms in there. But yeah, that combination and then that cheese is just it. I can't believe I'm going to say this because it's Cheese Whiz.
I know, right?
there's-
We're singing the praises of Cheese Whiz, man.
But there's
But it's a
this really
cheesesteak.
luxurious thing when you bite into it because the contrast is so different and it just like melts even more as you're eating it.
Yeah, you got
Oh
that
my
silky
God.
smooth
Yeah.
synthetic whiz or whatever, and then you've got the beautiful crunch of the sautéed onions
Who
in
knew
there.
that the Cheese Whiz would be so good?
and then the bread, right? Because that's the key.
What I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So
where do you get your rolls?
So
I'm-
at a local bakery here,
Okay.
we did use Amorosa
I was going
years
to ask
ago.
that. So
Yes.
I'm a West Coast girl, so I had to be taught that.
Okay.
And so that I knew that. So I wanted to know.
okay. But these, I think that the dusted bottom of the bread makes it so delicious. And then we put the roll on the grill to
Yes.
heat it up for just a few minutes before we then dress
So
it
this
with the
is
steak.
Amorosa, you said?
It
You
is not
used to
currently.
use them.
We used
Okay.
it years ago.
So is this a local bakery that you get these
Yes.
from? Can we
Yep.
throw them a shout out? Because these are
Great
great
buns.
fucking rolls.
Great buns?
Great buns.
Okay.
Great buns. Okay,
Yeah.
congrats to you guys. Now, one last thing, because I know you've got a place to get to. We've got to get back on with the show, but I'm having so much fun fucking
I
eating.
know. This is.
I asked you if you did a roast pork. This is not a roast pork, which is one of my favorite Philly, but you have a barbecue pork here, right?
Yes, this is a barbecue pork sandwich that we make daily, and then it is coated and in my dad's barbecue sauce that he made right out of our kitchen growing up.
I
So a
love
little
it.
southern barbecue sauce?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
may I grab
Please.
a bite out of that, baby?
Yeah, we're
Thank
bringing
you.
the Carolinas back.
Yes. It's funny because I
Oh, and there's more sauce.
I sometimes tell people
Oh,
that
okay.
you will feel a little bit of a southern flair on the menu.
Yeah.
Just with like the fried okra and the barbecue.
Oh, man. This is so good. Gemini are going to have to take a little break to eat some more of this before we come back with the rest of the show. I know you have someplace to get to, but seriously, P.O.P.S, it's right here. You can't fucking miss it. Just drive around Decatur and Alta. It's big. There's a big Ben Franklin eating a cheesesteak at the Liberty Bell mural. I mean, it's everything you could want in a Philly cheesesteak joint. This reminds me of when you go to the good places in Philly. You don't go inside to eat. You sit out and you eat on their patio, right? John's Roast Pork is just like that. So I love this place. It had been far too long since I've been in. Thank you so much for inviting us.
This has been
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you for coming out, and don't wait so long next time.
Thanks.
Promise.
The news is next. This is Food and Loathing.
By now you know about Neon Feast, the app that serves up Las Vegas restaurant recommendations, not from self-appointed influencers hustling for free meals or flame from disgruntled diners. Neon Feast gives you suggestions based on our conversations with Vegas restaurant pros, the chefs, managers, owners, writers, bloggers, and others who make this industry great. What kind of food do you want? What part of the valley? How much to spend? What's the occasion? Ask Neon Feast and get the answers. Also check for restaurant news and in-depth features at Neon News. We have you covered with the Neon Feast app and neonfeast.com. And for restaurant news you can use, neonnews.vegas.
Oh my God, dude.
Are you full?
You know, I'm going to give it the old college try and maybe eat a little bit more when we're done. But, I mean, we've done some damage while we were talking to Christina.
I know. We've got macaroni and cheese bites over
haven't
here
tried
that are
that
really
yet.
good. I like that you could dip them into more cheese
Right?
if you like. And, of course, they have tasty cakes, the Philadelphia treat,
I'm so
man.
excited about that.
And I'm actually, they've got the butterscotch crimpets, but I've got the peanut butter candy cakes.
Yep, and
so
I've got
I'm
a chocolate
happy.
junior.
Okay. So news. What do we got in the news?
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know, Natalie Young's Eat on Carson Avenue closed this week. Comes as a bit of a shock to many. I know I was. I saw some blurb on it somewhere and had to go searching. Like, what's happening right now? The restaurant was one of the first successful restaurants to emerge as part of the Fremont East Renaissance and one of Tony Hsieh and the Downtown Project's earliest success stories. The good news is that Young has not gone away. She has a new spot called Echo Taste and Sound on Main Street. That's in the Colorado building. You can read more about that in Rob Cachel-Reese's article for Las Vegas CityCast, and that's lasvegas.citycast.fm. And we're hoping to have a long conversation with Young shortly. Also coming up, Clark County is hosting the Tacos and Tamales Festival this weekend, March 28th through 30th at Desert Breeze Park. Al spoke to Clark County Recreation Specialist Justin Gelibert about what people can expect from this event.
The best part about this is with Clark County, we try and make all of our events very family friendly and financially easy on a lot of the communities here. And so it's a very relatively cheap event. You can get in for under $20 a person, and so it gets a lot of people in. There's a lot of food. You'll get to experience a lot of new cultures and great food more than anything else. If you haven't been before, come in and try a lot of those food vendors. Come hungry because you may expect one thing, and then you come in and there's just a lot of different food choices that add to your palate that you may not have had before. And with all the live music, you're going to be able to sit at a really great park and experience the great weather that we'll hopefully be having, along with that live music, great food. You can bring family, kids. Everyone is welcome to come. It's just an overall great experience for anyone who shows up, especially because there's eventually going to be a new event center over there that will have all new amenities and just be a really great experience to kind of just get a taste for kind of the local community.
As we mentioned, the International Pizza Expo in town this week. So, this is where I'm going to get to some of this stuff. As we record this, it's just getting started, but we had the chance, like I said, to attend Slice Out Hunger's Pizza Tailgate Party in front of the DTLV, downtown Las Vegas, Pizza Rock on Monday evening. This is a charity event open to the public, and it is done to raise money for Slice Out Hunger, which, of course, was founded by Scott Wiener. So I grabbed Scott. I mean, he was busy as fuck. I felt so bad bothering him. But I did grab Scott, and I asked him really to explain the event.
Every year, the best pizza makers in the world assemble in Las Vegas, and the people of Las Vegas don't get a chance to participate because they're not going to go into the convention center and do all that. So we're bringing the joy of the event out here to the streets at an event that is just as much public for normal humans who love pizza as it is for our friends and partners in the pizza business. So you come to this event and you get like the best of all the worlds. We get local Vegas pizza makers and visiting pizza makers just cooking for fun, hanging out, and doing it for the public.
So how many pizza makers do you have here for this event, and what are some of the more interesting things you've seen them make already?
This event has think 25 or 26 pizza makers, and I haven't even seen the pizzas yet because I've been running around taking care of everything. I saw broccoli and cheddar pizza. I saw something with pickles and mustard, which looks really good. You know, this event is just kind of really fun way for pizza makers to flex and try something new and, just have a good time.
So, of course, this is all for a cause. Talk about Slice Out Hunger, and how much are you hoping to raise here for that?
So Slice Out Hunger is a nationwide organization that uses the power of pizza to fight food insecurity. And the way we do that is by building partnerships with pizzerias from coast to coast. We've got 750 plus pizza partners from coast to coast. And that's a network that we activate every time there's something that comes up, a disaster, a need to send food to people who have trouble affording it. And we do many fundraisers, decentralized fundraisers through pizzerias.
While I was there, I got to chat with Metro Pizza's Sam Faccini, and he told me why he was there representing Metro.
We go to wherever we're invited. You know, we feel that we have something to add to the dialogue. We have something to add to your appetite, and we want to hang out with our pizza brothers and sisters. So if we're invited to the party, we show up.
What are you making here?
We're making a sweet heat, spicy Italian sausage, pepper and onion pizza. Really simple, but delicious, really delicious. Tastes like Grandma's SBO.
And of course, man, I was at Pizza Rock. I had to grab its owner, 13-time world pizza champion Tony Gemignani, and we had a short little chat before his big party kicked off. Began with me asking him to explain what the International Pizza Expo is all about.
It's a time that people would get together, and back in the day when there wasn't social media, it was a platform and a hub that you'd wait 1 year and come and learn and see all your friends, and then you'd get a magazine once a month, and then 12 months later you'd be back at Expo, seeing what the new ingredient is, what the new oven's about. So it started as that, and it's grown into competitions and rivalries and everything. So it's pretty interesting how it's evolved. But, you know, like I said, if you were there back in the day when it all started, it was the time that you would wait for to be able to get together and say, hey, man, what's up, John? What's up, so-and-so? And it was just an exciting time. And now it's gotten even bigger and better. So it's incredible. I mean, everybody waits for it, and it's the show of shows, as what Bruno back in the day said, and that's what he called it, and it is the show of shows.
Obviously, you have new things going on. You're opening new pizza places all around the country, but you are, for Pizza Expo, you're like the old guard. You're the guy that's been doing it forever. So what is a guy like you? I'm assuming you're not entering pizza competitions, things like that. What is it? You're not even trying probably to make deals because you're pretty in place. What's a guy like you do at Pizza Expo?
Well, you're always trying to make deals, though. No, but, I think that it's exciting to see not just my teammates compete, but some of the women and men in pizza that are competing that I may have taught. I've had over the years, done a lot of consultations. I had my pizza school for a while and a lot of other things. And, you know, when you do a seminar 3 years ago and a guy says, hey, man, you taught me tavern, and I ended up getting third place in that category, it's pretty special. So, you know, when they win, you know, I win. I feel like that, you know, and at the same time, you're still learning. I mean, you can't say that you can never stop learning, so I'm always learning.
That's about it for this week, man. Thank you to our hosts, Christina Walton, and the entire team here at P.O.P.S, who I feel like they might have just stayed busy just cooking for us. There's so much fucking food out here for us today. But the other people around us seem to be eating, so I don't feel that bad. Also, thanks to Chef Jeremy Ford, Justin Gelbart, Chef Sean Griffin, Scott Wiener, Tony Gemignani, Sam Faccini, anybody else I may have forgotten.
And actually, I'm going to throw a quick plug out there. Yep. I did forget one thing. I stopped by this place this week. This is going to be really brief. It's called the Blooming Bistro. I'm going to talk more about it next week, but they are having an opening event on the 10th. And so I want people to know that that's happening. It's going to be at 2 or 3 in the middle of the day. Just look up Blooming Bistro for the address because I had to use GPS yesterday. But it's a bistro that helps people who are going through recovery or have been through those kinds of situations. And it teaches them how to get into culinary and hospitality. And it's an active teaching environment while you get to eat some decent food.
Sounds great.
Please go check that out.
Please patronize them. Okay, that is really it. I'm Al Mancini with Samantha Gemini Stevens on the streets of Las Vegas, channeling the French energy of Rich Johnson on the back end, wishing you good health and good eating, and hoping that you always stay hungry.